Okay, you're on, Mr. Chair.
We'll call the Wet'suwet'en Planning Advisory Committee to order. Roll call. Additions, deletions, and/or approval of the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda circulated.
I'll second that.
Motion moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Declarations of conflict of interest. Approval of the minutes, July 16th, 2025.
I'll move. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll move to approve the minutes of July 16th as circulated.
I'll second that.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried.
What'd you say?
Planning and
I
Development
don't need the minutes.
report.
Those
has
are
been
read.
tabled.
Yeah.
That's just, I think it's,
Okay.
if you want paper copies of the
Thank you,
minutes,
thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
helpful.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay.
Union Street Townhouse.
Thank you.
Well, we were here. We were here. Let's go.
Is-
Union Street townhouses.
Yes, is that Mr. Day?
We
So,
skip,
did everyone have a chance to take a gander through the kind of draft agreement?
Yep.
I'm wondering if I should put something on the screen. I just wanted to walk you through some ideas that I wanted to explore. Get it running. This is just to get your feedback at this point. I did talk to, I suppose I'm supposed to be talking to this.
you are.
Yeah.
Is it
Loud.
turned on? There we go.
There we go. So I haven't had a chance to chat with the traffic authority or fire, but I did talk to Public Works today, and they said there would be no issues with water or sewer on this site, and they're excited about the prospect of this land being used in this way, so that was very positive. The layout, and I will try to put this on the screen and see if we can get this running, if someone has the remote to turn the TV on.
Right?
I had it,
Right here?
and I'll turn the screen so you could actually see it.
Just have to find the HDMI cable.
I was looking for it here. It's over there.
Here we go.
And I will switch this thing.
Okay, so I'm gonna just talk loud up here, because trying to do anything from back here is difficult with this setup.
No one no one watching on stream will be able to hear you. That's the only problem.
Take Danielle's microphone there.
There you go.
It might be able to.
No one watching on YouTube will be able to hear you.
We need a portable mic.
We do. We need a lot of technological changes.
Oh, I can't go
Improve
anywhere with this.
Go to the front of the room.
I feel
The front, you might be able to see better, Sean.
I need a pointer too, I guess.
Yeah.
You do.
The laser pointer.
Right, a laser pointer. Add that to the budget for next year. So you can see that I'm showing a few boxes in the size of the townhouse blocks. There are 4 blocks of townhouses, each of which has 4 units. They're 2 stories each, quite attractive, nice layout inside. I'm exploring whether or not addressing the street more might work better on the site and open up some more private space in the back and create a bit more green space than the way they're currently laid out. I'm also pointing out the fact that they showed no landscaping whatsoever, and that's something that will have to be present on a plan before we can move it forward. Interestingly, the plan shows 32 parking spaces, so 2 spaces per unit, which is probably overkill and means that we have a great deal of hard surface on the site, which is going to make snow clearing more difficult and management of stormwater more difficult. So these are some of the things I want to talk to the developer about. You'll notice that, and I am going to go forward and point this out on the screen because it's difficult to understand from here, but the road, the paved section of road isn't actually entirely on the right-of-way.
It quit.
You gotta touch them up.
It went away.
Keep it alive.
We really need better technology.
They never needed it.
Yeah, well, we got good things happening now.
Okay.
your little tree.
Catch it.
According to this survey, the roadway is not entirely on the road right-of-way, and it's pulled substantially away from this property. So I'm just going to... You. I'm going to show you that. So here's the road down here. That's the lower edge of the right-of-way down here. And all of this up here is not being used really for anything. That road should be kind of up here. Currently, we have requirements to have 20-foot setbacks from the right-of-way, but that would move the buildings a long way away from the paved surface of the road. And it really pushes them up against the railway property that's back here, which I'd rather not do. So what I'm going to propose that we do through the agreement is reduce the front yard setback that in a way that reflects the fact that the right-of-way and the road aren't aligned the way they should be. So that's one of the things I wanted to explore with PAC tonight, to get your feeling on that.
Yeah.
And one of the other odd things I observed is that the proposal has an insubstantial aisle in the parking area, which would be too small for most cars to maneuver in. So we're going to have to move some things around on the site to make it workable. And that will also be aided by moving the buildings toward the right-of-way, because that gives more space to create that parking space inside.
Right.
And that's those red boxes there, Sean? Like you've kind of twisted it to parallel. Yeah.
Right, I've
Yeah.
slid them down.
Yeah.
And
Got it.
That's really tiny. That
Yeah.
aisle. It's
Yeah.
just not doable. The last thing, I think that there is still an intention to put solid waste management containers in the area that is in the turning T at the top, which makes that a focal point as you enter the property.
Right.
So we do have a requirement in agreements that solid waste receptacles and things like that are screened. And that makes it doubly important that it would be the case. Otherwise, that's the first thing you see when you come home every day, or something like a dumpster.
Right.
Now that I've mentioned those things, I'll jump back over here and chat about them.
Yeah.
There were also, as I have to pick this up. There were also a few points that I've added into the agreement that are based on some of the policies we have around stormwater management, and some of the things that we've put in other documents, which may be overkill, but I think are moving us in the right direction if Westfield does want to kind of move into doing things in a more progressive fashion. So those, I wanted to run quickly through some of those points as well. Did anyone have any comments on what I've spoken about so far? I'm going to propose that we show less parking initially, but save room if parking is required. So it could be green space for the time being, but they would have the space if needed to develop that extra parking down the road. So that's one way of not over asphalting the site and retaining space for green space.
How many units was this again?
16.
16.
Okay, 4 in each block.
Right. Yeah, I was sure they were duplex.
And
I'll
share.
move to,
Oh, yeah, they got yeah. 16.
that's not what I wanted. I'm going to turn that off because it's not complete and you can't see it yet. There it is. So your document doesn't have any of the comments that you see on the side. That's sort of all just working stuff. At the very end, there's the site plan. So apart from perhaps needing a bit of attention to the entries, they're, I think, quite a simple but attractive building. And the layouts are excellent. They've got 2 generous units, or bedrooms upstairs. They probably could, if they wanted to, have 3 bedrooms, like 2 smaller bedrooms and then 1 larger bedroom, if they wanted to mix it up a little bit for the market, which is nice to not just have kind of one homogeneous group renting.
Yeah.
And so that's something I'll have a chat with them about if they want to do that. And I can't imagine that PAC would have any issue with that. I'd like to leave it open. If they want all twos, so be it, but if they want to add in some threes, we'll open that door within the agreement.
Yep, yep.
The plan is for this to be done modular.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yeah. And it looks as though there would be 4 boxes per 4 unit when you look at that big consistent center line, but they could also go in sideways. So we'll see which way they do it. They might want to bring the sideways in because that would be fewer boxes per 4 unit. Is there anything else I want to show you here? No. So you don't need to look at that. That's boring.
Yeah.
Just move into the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
So the feeling on the part of the committee is that moving the buildings forward to reflect the fact that the paved surface doesn't align with the right-of-way, no issues with that. There's no one else really on that side of the road except for when you look at some of the mini homes that are in Evans Way, they're actually right up against, possibly over that setback, because it's not apparent that they should be so far away from the road, just because of the fact that the road isn't in the right-of-way exactly. And that's not an uncommon thing in older towns.
And you're suggesting the realignment?
Not of the road, just
the buildings.
I'm just suggesting that we
buildings.
bring them forward to pretty much on the property line. And that way they'll have a reasonable yard between them and the edge of pavement. There's room for the ditch that runs along there because it's serviced by an open ditch. And it will seem more consistent with the balance of the street as opposed to having the pushed way back toward the railway property in the
Right.
back.
Just a question, like when you go down Evans Way now, there's trees in behind there and they have like a trampoline that the kids play on and stuff like that. Will that be, like how close? How close is
The
it?
surveyor neglected to show a trampoline on the drawings, so I'm not sure.
No,
exactly.
okay, I'm just wondering how close it is to the trailers.
There's actually, let me go back to
That are already there.
this drawing. You can see that there's actually a fair bit of space.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's, the trampoline may not have to move. I like trampolines, they're good.
Well, I'm sure, yeah.
So there would have to be a variance.
Well, it's through a development agreement, so it would be varied within the agreement.
Right. But
Yeah.
what we're doing is
Working on that agreement.
working on that, on the setback, narrowing the setback.
Right,
And the fact that the road is not where it's supposed to be
Right.
actually
Yeah.
assists with that because there's still setback from the road or the buildings themselves, right? So, and I don't imagine we're gonna be moving the alignment of the road anytime soon. Having,
Let's hope not, we
Yeah.
just paved it.
Right? It's one of
I
the
was
ones
gonna
we
go
just
there, but-
ate.
Yeah, we just paved it, let's hope not.
this is one of the benefits of having development, we get these survey things that show us where our roads are.
Yeah,
yikes.
Or where they're supposed to be.
Right.
where they're supposed to be.
So just, and you'll have to bear with me because I don't have these all highlighted in a way that makes it quick to run through them. But let me ask you, before I do that, did anyone see anything jumping out at them in the agreement as proposed that they questioned or thought was too much? We're off to a good
Too
start.
much is better than too little.
Right.
Yeah, and, I just remind the committee that this is a developer who has worked, or is working in Westville already, so, Mr. Day has established a very good rapport with the developer, and I have a lot of confidence that his suggestions will be listened to attentively.
Yep.
And hopefully result in those kinds of improvements that he's
And
suggesting.
there's nothing that you're suggesting that's going to cost the developer anymore from a financial point of view. I mean, there's nothing, we're not adding to the cost of the project by
In
the session.
most respects, I'm taking cost out by, for
Right.
example, less asphalt is
Right,
going to
yes.
cost them less,
That's
for
what I was gonna
instance.
say. It's in fact less, yes, okay.
I'm asking for some trees that aren't currently present, but they're things that are required through our policies in any
Right.
event. And so that doesn't add cost, it's just simply costs that will be borne irrespective of, anything I'm adding in this current agreement.
Yeah, and I suspect it's an oversight on you know, in developing the plan, right? The pitch.
I think that they were primarily interested in seeing if they could fit this on the site, and
Right.
landscaping
Seeing
would
how-
be,
yeah, and seeing
you know,
how the town would react.
Exactly.
to that, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, because PAC is on board with moving the buildings toward the right-of-way, and because the road isn't aligned with the right-of-way, that does open up that space in the middle to allow an appropriately sized aisle in the parking area. And it may allow us also to move the buildings away from that rear property line and just allow more trees back there to act as a noise buffer. Not that we get a huge amount of rail traffic, but there is some. And we could see more as some of the developments that are, you know,
In other areas.
looking at happening in Guysborough, for instance.
Yep.
That's great.
You know, if there really isn't any questions, I don't feel I need to belabor this.
So what is the time frame? What's the next steps in the process, Sean, and their timeframes from the
Sure.
developer's point of view?
Well, given the developer, it's always tomorrow, like,
Right.
or yesterday, but we're moving pretty quickly at this point. So the next step is, once PAC is comfortable making a motion to move this forward to public hearing, it can go to first reading. And then from first reading, obviously, we go to public hearing. In this case, this is not the kind of development that, in my opinion, needs a big public information session. It's on a big chunk of land. There's not a lot of development in that area. And it's going to be seen as, I think, an attractive addition to the community. So from a planning perspective, at least, I don't feel we need anything more than the public hearing, but that again is up to PAC
Right.
and council if they feel that we need to do
So-
a public information session.
So a motion from PAC to recommend to council to have the public hearing on the development agreement would be in order?
If PAC were comfortable with that, yes.
And you could, in theory, then drive to, a public hearing, you could do a public hearing coincident with COW on September the 22nd, if my memory serves.
Yes.
If that, you know, that, like, you know, often it's nice because it's already in your schedule, you don't have to find a new date. So we could either start a little early or
Right.
retard the start of COW a little bit to allow for a public hearing if you wanted, or we can find a different date, right? I mean, there's no magic about COW meeting, it's just that it's already.
We're all together, yeah.
And it sounds like the developer is pretty much ready to go. I mean, with, you know, once those approvals, once the development agreement is approved and everyone is satisfied.
I think they would love to. I can't speak to what's in the hopper for the manufacturer right now in terms of how quickly they
Well,
could turn things out, but I'm sure they'd like to get on the site and start earthworks as soon as
My
possible.
thought is that the manufacturer is ready to go pretty much
Yeah.
as well. That's what I understand, but.
So some of these things I haven't had a chance to talk with the developer about because I wanted to have the chat with PAC
Right.
first to get the feeling of this group. But I can't imagine that anything that we've just discussed or that's in here will cause any great amount of consternation. If it does, if there's some aspects that they are challenged by, that would come out in my report that would be, you know, available in
development
advance
hearing.
of the public hearing.
Yeah.
Was, just one quick question, and just refresh my memory, why we went the development agreement route here? Like, was there any issue, like, as of right, to do this on the property existing?
There's no ability as of right to
Right,
do
right.
something like this.
Right.
That would be really rare to be able to do four
Four,
unit
yeah,
buildings on
yeah.
one property
That's
as of
what I
right.
thought, yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, from, you know, my perspective, I guess, just saying that what I'm hopeful about with this particular proposal is that it's way more attractive than the developer's previous proposal, right? The 24 units on Acadia Street, right? This is a much more attractive looking, modern looking,
Two-level.
Yeah, I like the
urban-looking,
two-story, yeah.
development, right?
And if there
so
was more green space
I'm
to-
very hopeful
Yeah.
that this becomes a bit of a demonstration project for the town, and even, dare I say, for the county in some ways, right? I mean, I know there are a few places where there are townhomes, but not very many.
Many.
it's definitely setting a new bar for sure.
Exactly, and so that's very exciting, and the fact that they want to use modular construction techniques, and modular construction techniques look the way you know, assuming the artist's rendering is kind of, you know, close to what we saw, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Is that their rendering though? Or is that something that you?
No,
I'm
that's
just-
theirs.
Yeah, no, I was just asking, that's all. I was just making
One thing I
asking the
explored
question.
is, I still like the idea of the buildings having the front on the street as opposed to facing inward.
Yeah.
But the rear of the building, because of the size of the windows and the location of them, is not unattractive. And so if they do
Right.
want to hold to that, it's not going to be a terrible looking
And-
development from the
And it's
street.
quite common in other areas.
It is.
That
For the road.
alignment
Yes.
exists in townhouses.
Yeah.
And you have the center court almost,
Right.
basically.
Yeah, so either way is a win, as far as I'm
Oh,
concerned. But that's another door that I'll leave open, that they can do that. I think probably we would hold the line on where the parking would be rather than having a series of openings going out to Union, because that obviously does impact the safety of the street, introducing that many driveways. And there's no reason that people can't come in through the rear into the kind of the kitchen area. There's the big closet is in that back area anyway, so it would actually kind of make sense for that to be the entry.
Right. And there would be some more green space there for like children
Right.
that potentially could be living there, a place to play.
I think that they would have their consultants, that would be their next move, would be to really start to focus on that, and how do we
Like who's
make
living
those
there,
kinds of
how are we-
lifestyle
yeah.
improvements to the amenities.
Yeah,
And we require it in any event, so.
yeah.
Are you playing on
All right, if there's nothing else on this, I will,
So,
that? This is-
You're not allowed to do that
We
anymore.
play that
We did too. Horns Bridge, yeah, no, not anymore.
so we need a motion, is it? I understand.
Yeah,
Do we need a motion?
need a motion?
To put this to council? What's the motion?
To, what's,
So I didn't prepare one.
okay,
If you're looking to me to read something, I didn't.
I'll
do
read
one.
it, just pass her
But
over.
I can build one for you.
Okay.
In short order, I think.
Okay.
You know, I propose that PAC move, or recommend to council that the development agreement as proposed be moved forward, and that PAC encourage council to schedule a public hearing for the development as expeditiously as possible.
I'll second that.
No, you'll move it.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Mitchell.
Motion has been moved and seconded.
CAO can't move a motion, he can recommend a
Question?
motion.
I know.
Any questions?
So I said, let me read it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? Motion carried.
I think it's a good point to show to developers that, you know, we are definitely anxious and open for business, and we'll expedite things as quickly as possible under the regulations that exist, without delay.
I think it's
Excellent.
helpful to note that the better the product they come in with, the faster we can move on it as well.
Correct. Now, having said that, I've been by the Acadia Street one, watching the progress, and they're gonna be fine, they look good now, and they're only gonna look better as the site improves, as more of those units are put in there, and the landscaping and so on is improved. It's gonna be that's a pretty attractive little area. It's gonna be very nice, I believe.
I think so
good to
too,
hear.
but why is there only 4 there for quite so long? Like there's been 4 there
The
for a while.
manufacturing, just keeping up with the demand
Oh,
that they
they're
currently
modular
have.
as well, yeah.
Yeah,
That's all right.
okay.
There's still a lot of heavy truck traffic and site works going on, I
Right.
noticed too.
Yes.
Like I see the
Right.
Twin Rivers truck, like,
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But I think they have, just on that, they have told us that once these are, I think they're ready to be let at any moment.
yes.
And then they're planning to put each unit, so it's over the next 4 or 5 months, that
One-
each month another tranche will go in
Okay.
until they get to the 24.
One per month.
Got ya.
Okay.
One per
So
month.
there's some scheduling
Yeah.
issues, there's some labor issues.
They're definitely
Yeah.
working, because they're.
Oh,
the
yeah, I
excavators
realize
and
that. I
stuff.
just
I-
drive down and check them.
I
Like, Still
expect-
4,
Yeah, we
still
check on
4.
it.
Yeah.
I expect that you will see the second units go in there within the next couple of weeks,
Good,
before the end of the month.
excellent.
I like Friday.
Are they all gonna be the same color?
I don't know.
I believe the
Hopefully
answer
not.
was yes.
I don't know.
Hopefully not.
I thought that we talked about that. I thought,
We did talk about it.
That
So
they were
I
gonna be
expect
different
they will be
colors.
different colors.
that's what I expected as well.
We can add that to the to-do list from
Okay,
I think they're looking at leasing the first ones for the 1st of September, so,
Great.
Really?
yes.
Wow.
Sure.
Excellent.
On to updates. Long-term care. center.
Yippee! We should have had champagne. We could all toast the fact that the RFP's been put out.
There you go.
The only other addition, really, I think, to that is we don't really have a line of sight as to when a decision will be made. We suspect that a decision will not be made public until perhaps the new year, so into January or something like that. The other thing that I would say is that over the last number of weeks since the announcement, Westville has had a number of calls or conversations with organizations that are at least thinking about bidding on the RFP. Not that the town has any impact or influence in it, but they've been reaching out for information about the town, about services, about the availability of property, about where the town sits in terms of, you know, are you for long-term care or not for long-term care, all of those sorts of things. So we've been able to, I think, be of assistance to those entities that have reached out. So it seems to me that there could be quite, aggressive isn't the right word, but there could be a lot of interest. I think there is a lot of interest in bidding for the Westville job. A 96-bed facility is an attractive thing to have if you're in that business. And yeah, so.
I think we're going to be fielding a lot of calls in a short amount of time because in speaking with one of the bidders today, they said that they're meant to have things back to the province in September. So it's a very short turnaround for them to gather all the information, come up with a conceptual plan, talk to planning, talk to engineering. And they're not, a lot of them are going to be bidding on more than one. There's one in the valley as well. I think there's a few of them
Right.
going around. So they'll have to decide if they're going to bid on all of them or just some of them. And
Yeah.
So we've spent, Mr. Day and I and the mayor as well have spent time trying to be as helpful as we possibly can to each of the bidders. And the thing that we have been saying is that we are operator agnostic. We don't care who wins. We do have a very big interest in hopefully having this facility sited on, up on South,
The old school.
South Main there. But beyond that, I mean, we'd be happy with it anywhere, right? I mean, you know, as long as and that's what we've said to them, is that, you know, as long as you meet the zoning and the use and the requirements, then, you know, wherever you want to put it, go ahead. We think there are some real advantages to using the South Main town-owned site, and we've been very clear about what we think those advantages are. And I think every one of them has said, oh, yes, those are big advantages. So I don't think we're kind of deluding ourselves or others that you know, the work that this committee and this council have done over the last number of years has put that piece of property in a very good spot to be a prime development opportunity.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, the other thing I would say is that a lot of these proponents, possible operators, proponents, are involved in other types of development in addition to long-term care. So we, in the ones that I've been involved in, was fortunate enough to be involved in discussions. We took it upon ourselves to talk about other developments possible in the town that they might be interested in, other residential and commercial developments that may be available, the space that we have and the properties that we have, and they've been very receptive to that and sort of eye-opening, sort of aha, wow, never thought of that. Yes, we'd be interested in that, and yeah, as a result, we expect to see some new developers. People that are involved in the long-term care business coming to town to pay a visit those that weren't familiar with us. And so, you know, it's a selling job, and it's an opportunity to sell further development in town. And that's the thing that encourages me more. And you know, the fact that the long-term care is coming is going to open up so many opportunities for us as a town, development-wise, other than in addition to the long-term care.
96 beds,
So
yeah.
that's why, you know, we all said this is a game changer for the town. You know, the fact that we're going to get this facility. So let's hope the time frame, you know, moves up some and it's expedited.
So buckle up, team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be busy. Yeah, we're gonna have some big decisions to make as a planning advisory and council in the next year for sure. Good decisions to have to make though.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. B, the Shaw Drawing Compact Home.
So I just have a brief update on that. I was waiting to hear back from the province on the subdivision, and it seemed to be going more slowly than I anticipated. So I got in touch with one of the mappers there, and it had been misidentified in their system and kind of gotten lost as a consequence. And so it took us a bit of back and forthing to get it straightened out, but I'm back on track with getting that finalized now. In fact, I just passed it to Scott and asked him to get that mailed so we can have that registered, so that that will not be an impediment to them getting building permits.
Good.
We're still hopeful for a fall start to that project, as I understand it.
I think
possibly?
hopeful is appropriate.
Right.
Expectant, not so much perhaps, but hopeful.
Yes.
I just, the only thing I would say about that, and I agree entirely with Mr. Day that hopeful rather than maybe expected. On the other hand, this is again a modular development, and once you put your mind to it, there isn't a lot for that particular developer to do. Dig a couple of trenches, put in some water services and connect to existing sewer service, and drop some modular homes on the sites. And so, you know, in a week and a half or 2 weeks or 3 weeks of concerted effort, very big change could happen there without a whole lot of work. So I agree that, like, I like you have been frustrated, I guess, looking out and seeing nothing but stakes out on the property for the last, you know, couple of months, or longer maybe. But I do, you know, in a more sanguine moment say, oh, okay, well, hold it. You know, once they set their mind to it and kind of push the go button, things will happen fairly quickly,
Yep.
Okay.
or could happen.
Any questions on that? C, Main Street Initiatives at Megan's Place and Pop-Up Market.
Mr. Weirs, you have an announcement on that, don't you?
Yeah, I guess I do. So Megan's Place, you know, is up and running. The voluntary restriction on the splash pad remains in place till we get some rain. Westville was notified last week that we have been awarded some money to enhance the pop-up market area. So with a gazebo, some landscaping, some furniture, those sorts of things. So we're in the process of trying to execute that. I mean, I know it's the 20th of August. It frustrates me that, you know, our application went in well over 9 months ago with a focus to have it happen, you know, in May or June, and it's now the end of August. But the infrastructure will be valuable into next year, and you know, I think there is this new money will allow us to do some stuff that will really make it look more attractive, be more attractive to people. And I know that there is a small but quite cohesive and creative little community bubbling up in that marketplace, and that gives me a lot of hope for the future. So much so that they are that community is clamoring for a 3-season effort to become a 4-season effort, and I'm working on ways to make that happen. There's some complexities, not least of which is those buildings are entirely uninsulated and unheatable.
Minor problem.
But
Christmas
but the enthusiasm and drive of the community is, makes it kind of worthwhile to explore at least. So, we're not gonna make them 4-season huts. That's not,
Wasn't the
No.
intention. no.
wasn't the intention.
No.
We just don't have the money to do it. But I think there are ways, and the ways really are around getting very defined days and hours of operation that are
Absolutely.
consistent, that are widely publishable,
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. And so with that, I think we can probably move to a place where there can be 4-season activity there. And maybe it stops at kind of the end of the Christmas retail season, right? And there is a break then until it does warm up. But I think there's a lot of enthusiasm to maintain those things. The vendors there tell me that they are loving what they're doing. They're loving the space. They're loving the business that they're doing. So, like if the model works, let's let the model work,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so far it is. I admit we have 2 vacancies. We're out there trying to beat the bushes to
Have
find
we looked at
more
any more applications for those 2? I knew that
I
we had
haven't,
some.
what I've done is I've reached out by email to all the people who had kind of
Before, yeah.
before shown some interest. I'm in contact with the Pictou County Partnership on a very regular basis to say, is there anybody in your pipeline that might be ready? The community itself is looking for, they're out there in
Right.
their world using their network to
Right.
try and find additional people. And that frankly may be the most fruitful line of
Well,
investigation.
They sell at other markets and such too, right? So
Exactly.
need
They
that.
would've
And
made
so they're,
connection.
the
Yeah.
fact that
Revenue
they are
vendor.
very
Yeah.
happy and content may not be the right word, but they're happy to be there. They think we're trying to do the right things. They're excited about the future and the fact that we've got some money to do some enhancements. I believe that they are, our best avenue for advertising, word of mouth
Yep.
advertising, and they will help us find, in the fullness of time, additional people to rent those units. And, we're kind of going into a kind of, we're through the summer season now largely, right? And there is always a bit of a lull until people get around to thinking about Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that's when makers come out of the woodwork. And so I'm hopeful, but it will play out the way it will play out.
So there's not a time frame on the grant that we received, right? Like, it's
No.
good till next summer or next spring, whatever, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and a portion of that grant was to be able to retain someone
Yeah.
to actually do programming there, right?
Right.
To take on the responsibility to, book musical talent or book buskers or show films or, encourage businesses or government agencies to do demonstrations and those sorts of things in a space. So the mayor and I were actually out looking at a 14 by 20.
16.
Yeah, the one we looked at was 16,
Yeah.
but we were thinking, looking at a 16 by 20, was it 16 by 20? 16 by something.
20.
16 by 10. 16 by 10 gazebo to see how that looked, because I think we're in the market for, and we have the money for, if we can get it at the right price, a 14 by 20 or 14 by 24 gazebo in that space. And then some furniture, some street furniture, some landscaping, remove the jersey barriers and replace it with bollards and rope or something like that to just make it look a little, more refined and that sort of
Welcoming.
thing.
Yeah.
So, so I am therefore in, just so you know, kind of trying to sort out how to do that whole animation thing, right? How to find somebody who wants to do what it would be definitely a part-time kind of activity that is very creative and would, need to bring along not only the community at the pop-up area, but the larger Westville community, and try and turn that into a real, a real attraction.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
And I think that's all I have on the Main Street stuff.
Okay.
Oh, one thing, actually. One of the representatives of someone interested in the long-term care center, when we were speaking about other development opportunities, asked specifically about our interest in mixed-use buildings. So a level of commercial with perhaps 2 level of
Of
residential.
course, we said no.
Yeah, meh.
Said, "No, that's not good."
So it was interesting to have that exact question
Exactly.
come from somebody who is in the business of developing those.
That'd be great.
Just before you leave that, special shout out to everyone for attending Megan's Place opening on the 31st of July. As you all know, you were all there. It was well attended and it was excellent. It was to me, the most significant thing was having Megan's family well represented there. And I can tell you the feedback that I've had from the family is, they're extremely appreciative of Westville and our community and what we've done there with Megan's Place and honoring Megan. And so I just want to pass that on to council and to PAC and thank everyone for their attendance and participation in that event. As I say, well represented, well attended, and as you know, you drive by there. Today again, it doesn't seem to matter what the weather's like or whatever. There's
There's always
constant
children
activity.
playing, yeah.
It's unbelievable, really.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
I kind of thought we were going to have to build some new parking lots.
Right.
Just wall-to-wall
Right.
vehicles and people.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's great. Sale of town lots.
Don't have much to say other than we will continue to, in a kind of very methodical way, find ways to release lots as it makes sense to do that. So we sold Rundle's Lane a few weeks ago, and there is a build requirement on that property, and I am 100% confident that the person who bought, or the organization that bought that property, will build a suitable dwelling on that unit, and that's what this is about. This is about infill development. Westville has, just such opportunity in that, probably within a couple 100 meters of this office in any direction, there are multiple lots or plots of land that are in the kind of 5, 6, 10 acres zone that could, that are on public roads and have municipal services running right by them that could be, the future 16-unit townhouse development that is going in Union Street could be transported to any one of those plots, right?
Yeah.
And, there is such an opportunity for property owners in Westville to get in on what I think is, the ground floor of significant change in this community, right? So when the long-term care facility goes in, there's dozens of jobs that will be needed, and there will be dozens of families looking for places to live so that they can undertake those jobs.
Yeah.
And there are not enough residences available now.
Amen.
And, you know, this would be the time, you know, there's probably a 24-month build period for that, from the time of the announcement of the successful organization to build that. There's probably a 24-month build period. If somebody with property could find some developer friends or find some money, you could be on the front lines of having units ready and available when there
When the
is
jobs come.
a demand for it. So the time to act, I think, for developers and property owners in this town is right now. And Mr. Day has office hours every Wednesday. Come on down and see him.
Yeah,
They find me outside the office hours quite reliably.
right. Yeah, contact them anytime. And it's starting to happen. I think we've all seen evidence of it, that people that have been holding on to these properties or have large properties that are suitable for more development are starting to see.
starting to,
And
yeah.
I know of a couple instances just in the last few months where properties are moving, are being sold to potential development that have sat for a long time, you know, without any thought of use. So, you know, it's a momentum thing, and I think it's, as the CAO says, it's starting to kick in, and developers are starting to see it, as well as individual landowners.
One little side note on this, Mr. Weirs and I had a meeting with a representative of Development and Growth, Provincial Development and Growth.
Right.
And we talked about a number of things, but one of them was, one of our challenges with these lots can be that title is askew. And we've had this happen a few times, I gather. And they're going to look into whether or not they may be able to aid us in some of the title research to try to pin those things down. There's a few other things we talked about too, but it's all kind of in its infancy right now in terms of how we might partner with them.
Good. Highland Consolidated Middle School.
Yeah, this is a complex one, in the sense that there has been a leadership change in NSCC, so there's a new CEO. The mayor and I met with that person. His name is Jeff Ewell, earlier this week. I came away from the meeting believing that the organization is as committed to pressing ahead as it has always been. There are some challenges, as most of you know. It appears that the building was constructed using a type of joist called the Rob joist. And there were some manufacturing defects with those joists. And in the late 80s and early 90s, the government of Nova Scotia developed put together a commission, or not a commission, a committee of bureaucrats made up of municipal affairs and public works. You know, the titles of the departments may have changed a bit, but that's generally who was involved. And they created a master list of 116 buildings in this province, both publicly and privately owned, that had been constructed using these joists. And then they brought in special engineering consultants who went out to each of those 116 buildings, inspected the joists, recommended remediation where it was required, and remediation was undertaken. It is patently obvious that the Highland Consolidated School has those joists in it, and for reasons that I'm not able to understand and nobody is able to explain, that school never appeared on the Government of Nova Scotia's master list of buildings that had Rob Joyce in it. And so at this point in time, it looks like
By design.
it was never identified, therefore never inspected, therefore never remediated. And that is injecting into the project a whole pile of uncertainty, both about the structure and about the financial viability of the project. And so we've been working with, and will continue to work with NSCC to find a way forward through this problem, or over this hurdle, such that we can get to a place where NSCC has enough data to be able to make a evidence-based decision about whether proceeding with the project is in fact financially viable. And so that sounds horrible and ominous, and I guess it has the potential to be. I think there's some realities that we need to understand about this. We know from recent consulting reports that the value of the building, stripped and just its frame. So if you were to build the frame that exists there now, it would, in today's dollars, take somewhere between $3 and $4 million ish to build,
Yeah.
and take a year. And so, even if, and I'm just making these numbers up, but even if, let's say, it cost $500,000 to
Remediate the choice? Yeah.
you're still $3.5 million ahead if you're NSCC. You've got, a year's work construction undone, and you're still ahead because you've got, you've still got a $3.5 million asset there.
Right.
A shell.
And the good news is that NSCC really is bringing that, in my mind, they seemed very genuine to me, bringing that perspective to bear. That is their perspective. The value, the building as it is has value, and we don't want to demo it. But their reality is, they're kind of like Westville, right? They don't have buckets of money, and so they can't afford to make a mistake.
Right.
Do a lot of work on it only to be told by some engineer in a year and a half that, this is not viable, you shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
So we're working very closely with them to try and find a way forward so that they have greater certainty, we have greater certainty, and part of that solution is likely to be found in our municipal infrastructure incentive program. And so I've been in consultations with CMHC, who provided the funding, and have proposed a path forward that would see us bring forward some financial support to NSCC to do some engineering work. And we've explained to NSCC what the implications are of all of that, and they seem good with it. And so I'm hopeful. We're kind of not done the discussions yet, but I would say that we're pretty deep in them now. So we have a very clear plan of who needs to do what over what time period, and I think it's entirely doable. And so I'm optimistic, but frustrated by the fact that none of us saw this coming. So we didn't know about it, they didn't know about it, and the way it turned up is important to understand. As part of their due diligence, they brought in an engineering firm to take a look at the state of the building, right? To look at the roof and to look at the foundations, and as they did that, they discovered that, these joists are there. And they had worked on the Rob Joyce problem in the past, so they immediately understood what the issue was. And, you know, I've been in contact with, you know, the Department of Public Works, the Provincial Department of Public Works, with Municipal Affairs, with engineering firms, with Chignecto School Authority, all looking for the reports, and I haven't been able to turn them up. And so I'm getting to the place where I can't be definitive that the school was missed somehow, but it's looking very like that happened, that, you know, some error somewhere resulted in that school not being looked at, which is,
I wonder how many other schools are not
well,
on
yeah,
the
Right.
exactly.
How many other buildings?
Yeah.
Yeah, how many other
Hospitals.
buildings?
So,
Right.
anyway, you know, but you think about it, because there were kids and teachers in that building
Yep,
up till
up
2014.
until 2014.
And so
Yeah.
that was like, you know, close to 20 years, 15 to 20
And
years.
I think, Mr. Chair, the obvious thing is that if the inspection had been done and it was found to be suspect or needing repairs, that's what the school board would have used to close the school.
it down.
Not the mold issue or concern about
Right.
health issues.
Yeah.
So very evident, you know, from
That they
that,
got missed,
you know,
yeah.
when we heard that, when we found out about this, that was my first thought. Well, my first thought was, they must be okay, because they never used that as a reason to close the school. But then we found out that in fact, it wasn't done. We don't know. So, just to very quickly, Mr. Chair, just to follow up on the CAOs, we did meet with, as CAO said, that was yesterday, by the way. I know there's so much going on, it seems like a long time ago. It was yesterday we met with them, with the new CAO and the project manager. And my takeaway, just for what it's worth, was that, yes, they are still very committed to moving that project forward. And even if it has to take a different course, even if it has to take a different turn, that it's not the school building that they're renovating, they're still committed to building these units in Westville in some shape or form, and hopefully on that property in particular. So, you know, that was one of my takeaways. The other thing is, the next steps sort of thing are, so that you all know, is for them they're reaching out to a qualified engineer to do the assessment of those joists as soon as possible, humanly possible. First step is to get a costing of what it will cost to do that, and bring that to us. So, you know, we are very much and we said this, in a committed partnership. We feel that way with them, and we'll do what we can if we're able to, but we need to know the numbers. So the first step is going to be, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, that we'll have a number. And we'll come back to council, to planning advisory, to council, and see what the suggested course of action may be as far as us being involved in any of that assessment or remediation that's going to be required. So, and there was mention, they mentioned as well that they're quite prepared to come to council in particular and present, you know, where they're at and where their thoughts are, so that we're all in a public forum, so the public knows as well just what's going on there, and where we stand at that given time. And then, yeah, so that's sort of the steps that I think we took away from the meeting. And so, you know, I agree with the concern and so on, but my thoughts are, and for the public, because this is one of the things that I know, I'm sure all of you are asked more than anything else, what's happening with the school, when's that going to happen, what's
Yeah.
going on in you know, the long-term care one now, hopefully we know where that's going. And my answer is always that it's moving ahead. It's just that there's, you know, they need to do their due diligence. There's steps that are required before they can start actually tearing things apart and rebuilding. So that it's still at that stage as far as I'm concerned. And so, you know, as much as we're concerned and worried about what we found out, I want to assure the public that and our residents that this is in fact, in my takeaway, moving ahead, albeit slower than we all wanted and going to be delayed more than we ever wanted it. But we had good discussion with them, and we will continue that. I know that.
Mr. Chair, the only other thing that I would say that is sort of tangentially related to that is finding out about the Rob Joyce scared me about this building.
Right.
And I did go up into the rafters here and find that, in fact, this building does not have those joists in it. They have joists built by a different firm. So this building doesn't have that problem, which was a bit of a relief for me, I must say.
Good. To be continued.
Ashford Transportation Study.
Nothing new at this point. We haven't heard anything back from WSP on the work that they did here in town. They're the engineers that have been hired to take a look at the two selected routes. We do know that our lead guy, Ethan, is moving positions. I think he's staying within the same organization, but he's shifting to a different position, but he will make sure there's continuity in the process, so it won't be abandoned or let slide off the side of the desk somewhere.
Okay.
I get, the only other thing that I can say about active transportation, I guess, is some of you will know that there are, if you looked at maps of Westville, that there are rights of way through the town that I believe were the result of providing electrical service to the mine sites. And I've reached out to Nova Scotia Power and said to them, you know, these rights of way exist. You're not using them to my best of my knowledge. The town of Westville might be very interested in acquiring those to create because they're linear, right? They're linear rights of way. To acquire those to become a active transportation corridor right through town. So it would start in the kind of area of Acadia Park and go up over, what's it called, Dufferin, whatever it's called there, and down, and it goes all the way out, all the way out to Truro Road, potentially. So I've started those, not negotiations, I've started those discussions with Nova Scotia Power. They didn't shut me down. They did say this is kind of unusual and will take a lot of research on their part, but that they're interested in doing the research. So I just mention that to you as, you know, in the context of active transportation, there may be, you know, some potential to do some sort of deal with Nova Scotia Power about, you know, those parcels. They aren't big, but, you know, collectively, when you kind of put them all together, it would be the area of probably close to 10 acres. But it's spread out over, you know, a number of kilometers, you know, kind of whatever it is, 50 feet wide or 60 feet wide or 100 feet wide and several kilometers long. So there may be, you know, if it gets a favorable hearing from Nova Scotia Power, maybe there's an opportunity to turn it into an active transportation corridor for, you know, hiking trails, biking trails, and whatever.
And
Four-wheelers?
And that's, well, that's where I was gonna go, and it's interesting that you mentioned that, because just, you know, I'll go back 4 years, to the first iteration of the Recreation Committee, just when Michael was still here. We had actually identified some of these routes as potential for multi-use trails, from everything from walking, cycling, horses, potential for side-by-sides. The legislation wasn't supportive for, other than the pilot project, for actually utilizing vehicles or off-highway vehicles on the road. But I know where a lot of these places are that you're speaking, and, you know, whether it ends up being pedestrian only or the, you know, all the way up to including off-highway vehicles, I think it would open Westville up to a whole world. I mean, if anybody's been down to Pictou lately, it's just unbelievable what's going on in the town of Pictou with that there. Now, they put some stuff on the road. Part of the Jitney Trail is not, you know, it's not mixed use, but if anybody's ever driven the rail bed from Tatamagouche or from my goodness,
Scottsburn.
Scottsburn to Tatamagouche.
Yeah.
There's everything from people on horses
Yes,
and you
bicycles,
name it, and
walking.
it's a mixed use trail, and everybody. I'm not saying there's no incidents. I mean, there's
But
there's
everybody's
a
pretty-
great
There
crowd,
are
but-
Everybody's
Yeah.
pretty,
Yeah.
compliant to
Respectful.
the other
Most
person.
people are respectful.
Yeah.
The people who aren't
Absolutely.
respectful, it won't
Yeah.
matter what trail it
And I
is.
know a lot of
Yeah,
folks have
that's
asked
right.
us over, since they've changed the regulations to allow off-highway vehicles on the road in Westville, and I mean, my short answer, and I think most have been, it's not just a free-for-all, like, there has to be connection points to existing
Yeah.
trails. And, if we were to even gain access to those trails or private property, there's trails just on the cusp of town here that could open us. You could literally leave Westville and drive to Amherst.
Yeah.
Or folks
Wow.
from Amherst could
We
drive
actually,
and come to
we actually have,
Westville.
we
Yeah.
have done it, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, so there's
Yeah.
all kinds of trails that, down to Sheet Harbor,
Yeah.
like just, like even Sheet Harbor, for an example, for as small as they are, it's unbelievable the amount of people on bikes and stuff like that, and it, like their restaurants and stuff, like they all, it's just,
Yeah.
it just snowballs.
Yeah.
So,
And even if it doesn't happen with off-highway vehicles, it's still a great idea just from having it open as
Absolutely.
just any kind
Hiking.
of trail.
Hiking
Even if,
or,
especially when you get into the
I'll bring
winter,
my
folks
horse
move
for a
cross-country
stroll.
skiing.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of benefits. So I guess my point is I'm really glad to hear that, because I know we were dead in the water 4 years ago, didn't even know where to go with any of those Nova Scotia Power right-of-ways that do exist in town, like you said. There's a few.
Skidoos.
If they say yes.
yeah.
Delegations and issues or discussion arising from business or other business? Hearing none, can we have a motion to go in camera?
I'll move to go in camera.
Second?
Motion moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. In camera.